Hi, Tamara Bernadette with Girl Changed. Today is about patience. Okay, when you think of the word patience, what comes to mind? When somebody says you need to be patient, what comes to mind? Are you impatient? Are you generally a patient person, except for, maybe every now and then something will happen and you just can't find those patience. You can't find the patience to get you through whatever that situation is. Or do you run off and just try to do it without even thinking about it? What do? Um, when somebody says you need to ask the Lord for patience, I remember years ago in my early 20s, my dear sister-in-law said to me, "Don't ask for patience," because I knew even back then in my early 20s I was lacking patience. I wanted everything now, and that didn't go away for years. But anyway, I wanted everything now. Even yesterday, I wanted everything, and she said. She said, "You need to exercise patience." And I said, "Well, I just don't have it." I said, "You know what? I'm just going to ask the Lord for patience." She said, "Don't do that. Don't do that. You don't want to do that." And I'm like, "Why? I mean, if you're telling me that the Lord's the only one that can give you patience, why wouldn't I say, Lord, give me patience?" Well, if you haven't experienced that, uh, I don't recommend saying, "Lord, give me patience." But you do want to rely on the Holy Spirit to give you patience, because what is going to happen? You're going to learn patience whether you ask for it or not. You're going to be put into situations in your life that's going to make you become patient, because you're going to be stretched and pulled in different directions. You're going to go through things that are going to require you stepping back and letting the Lord teach you about patience. That's what I had to go through, and it took me a very long time, because I wasn't trying to wait. I was too busy to learn patience. I didn't want to learn patience. I felt like I was too busy. I didn't have time. That meant that I had to take the time, and I had to think about whatever the situation was. I had to just let it take its time. I had to wait. I had to wait on the Lord. And this is a lot of stuff that I learned over these years during my journey, my wilderness. I had to learn to wait on the Lord. And it's interesting, because when you are in a season of change, the Lord will have you go through different things. For me, my experience was the Lord had me go through things a lot, but in increments. So for me, learning how to be patient, that meant He put me in situations that I would normally be very, very angry, very upset, very agitated. And I would have to learn. I would find myself just having to just shut my mouth, because that was the other thing that came with this. I had to learn to shut my mouth and let the Holy Spirit work through the situation, work through me, so I could handle the situation better. It could be something as simple as, let's say, the grocery store. Simple. I'm at the grocery store, and I hate lines. I hate standing in line. And if I'm at the grocery store and there are lots of lots of checkers, and I will go up and down the aisle where I see the checkers to see which is the shortest one, or who had the fewest grocery items in their basket, and I would get in that line. I just hate lines. So when it came to the point that I knew I wasn't going to win this battle, I got in line, and I had to find a way to just deal with it. And I wasn't the kind of person, I'm still really not, but I had to find the I had to find something to do while I was waiting in these long lines. And I had to start just being in the moment. And it could be, I would read things in magazines. I would even break out my phone. That was the thing, I didn't do that often, and break out my phone and just, read articles or read emails or something on my phone. And some people would say that's multitasking, and it can be. Um, but for me, I knew in my mind that I was just trying to deal with what was in front of me, somebody very slow, or a new checker that was in training and making mistakes, or a customer that required a product check, or they had to split how they were going to pay for the items. Many different things. And I remember one particular time, and this was like a test for me to see what am I going to do, because up to that point my lessons were just be still, don't show attitude, don't roll your eyes, don't don't do all that which I used to do. But what am I going to do in this situation? So there was a new checker, and then there was a customer that was having some problems. I don't know what the problem was that she was having. I didn't really want to get in their business, and I'm the kind of person that gives you your space if you are next to me. I don't invade people's space when they are in the checkout because you don't know what they got to do. It's private. You don't know. Anyway, it's private. So I give them their space. So I wasn't trying to be in their business. I just wanted it to hurry up and go because I just wanted to go. And I could see that the girl that the customer was very nervous because whatever the transaction was, it was making her uncomfortable, which was making the checker uncomfortable because she saw the line building up behind me and everybody was getting very irritated. Everybody wanted to go. Everybody was experiencing impatience. And I knew that I wanted to get out, but I was watching the girl, the checker, and I was thinking, oh my gosh. And so I put myself in her position and I thought, if she looked down to see the line, to see how many people were building up and the irritation and people just talking about her and and so forth. I thought that's terrible. That's terrible. And I thought if I were in her shoes, which I had been before, um, I thought I'm doing the best that I can. I'm new, and this lady in front of me, I want to give her the best customer service, but she's fumbling and she's nervous, and I don't want her to feel uncomfortable, but yet everybody else is upset with me because I'm not going fast enough, and I want to do the best job. I just got this job, and I don't want to get fired. I don't want to get in trouble, and so forth. So that finally got finished. That transaction, the customer left, and everything was fine. And the girl, so she was right in front of me, and she was really nervous, and she thought I was going to be saying something to her, and so I said, you know what? Just take your time. Just take your time. I said, I'm in no hurry. And she said, oh, thank you, but everybody's upset. I said, don't worry about them. Don't worry about them. I said, you just take your time, take a breath, just take your time, and just do your thing. Just do what you got to do. I said, I'm fine. I said, and these people, they're going to be fine. So she said, okay. So I was just trying to let this girl, get her groove back, get her stuff together so she can be the excellent salesperson, checker that she can possibly be because she was trained. She was trained to do this job. If she wasn't trained to do this job, they wouldn't have put her there. So she just needed a break to get her composure, to get her confidence back up and get her rhythm back. So I was like, don't worry about these people. They're fine. I mean, if they don't like it, there are other lines. Don't worry about it. So I looked and I turned and I saw some of them left the line, and then some of them that decided to stay, they got like a half smile because they heard what I said. I wasn't making a scene. I wasn't speaking loud. I was speaking to the girl, and she appreciated what I said. And by the time that I was done with buying my groceries and whatnot, she had calmed down. She was fine. She felt better, and she could get on with her job and deal with these other customers. And so with the next lady, I kind of stood there at the end of the counter there for a second to see what was going to happen. The lady that was behind me, she came up, and the checker says, "How are you?" And the lady says, "Great, thank you. How are you?" And the checker says, "I'm fine, thank you." And so I walked off and I thought, wow, that was a really big lesson for me because I never did that before. I would feel for checkers that go through this because I see it all the time. And I would feel for them, but what I would do would just go up to the front desk and then I would go up to the checker and just say maybe nothing, or I would just smile and just try not to be that complaining customer because I don't like to complain like that. So anyway, I had learned patience at that time. That's when I realized I had learned patience. That was like my big test to see if I could pass that because it was a really bad situation. It was really bad. And so was I going to let them run all over this poor girl, or was I going to say something? What was I going to do? So I felt like that was one of my tests. I have had several since then, but for me, I learned the difference of being what patience will do. You're extending yourself, you're extending kindness, you are helping the other person. And I mean, there's so many benefits to being patient. And I know, People say it's really hard to wait on God when you're in those kind of situations. When they say, I need to wait on God. People say, I need to wait on God, and God takes forever, and He's not hearing me, and He doesn't understand. Well, He does understand. And I know you know that. He does understand. And it's frustrating. I'm not going to lie, it's frustrating to wait because you're thinking, I'm ready and I get it and I want to move forward and I want to do this. And you gave me a promise and I waited for you and I waited for you and I cried and I prayed and I fasted and I did everything I was supposed to do. But I feel like you don't even see me. You don't hear me. You're not coming through for me. I'm done. I'm done. Well, don't be done. He's still working on you. And the fact that you are going on like that says that you're not ready. Clearly, because I said the same thing. I did the same thing. I remember speaking to my sister-in-law, and I said, I'm done. I have been patient. I have waited on the Lord. I have. I'm patient. And she would say to me, girl, you are so far from it. She says, I know you get it here, but you're not getting it here. Well, I just was tired of waiting. I was tired of being patient. I was tired of striving to be obedient and being patient and waiting. And it was hard. It was really hard. But then I realized the more I complained, the more I was going to keep going through the same thing over and over and over again until finally I just gave up. I said, Lord, you know what? I'm waiting. Your timing is right. Your timing is right. I obviously can't see the full picture. You gave me a promise. I'm standing on that promise. And there it is. If God gave you the promise, it's a done deal. It's a done deal. If He told you something, if He gave you a promise, you can bank on it. As my dad used to say, you can take that to the bank. You can count on it. So count on it. Count on His promises to you. Count on what He told you He's going to do. He doesn't lie. God does not lie. It's what His word says. His word says He does not lie. So believe it. Believe it. So I encourage you to try again. Go back to the promises that He gave you. Know that He's already done it. What we do between the time in that time that we are waiting for it to come to fruition, that says a lot. Just think of the Israelites, what they did. God made a promise. He came through he took them out of Egypt, and they were wandering around in the wilderness. They didn't have to. They could have made it to the promised land if they had just listened to the Lord and stopped being so impatient and stopped complaining. But they complained and complained and complained. Nothing was ever good enough. The fact that they got out of Egypt, out of prison, wasn't enough. They wanted more right now, like I did. Well, don't do that to yourself. Don't do it to yourself. I'm not saying that the road is going to be easy. Of course it's not easy. But it doesn't have to be as difficult nor as long as it could potentially be if you don't trust and wait on the Lord, if you don't exercise patience and believe He knows what He's doing. So what you do between now and you receiving your promises, that's up to you. That's completely up to you what you do with your time. You could waste your time. You could make it productive. It's up to you because you can learn a lot, even if it does take a little bit longer than you expected, or a lot longer than you expected. You can learn a lot in that time, like me. It took a long time for me to get it. But during this time, I've learned a lot. So I can't recommend it enough to just let the Lord just do what He has to do and trust those promises. Trust. So exercise patience in your life. Exercise it. And just call on the Holy Spirit to help you to get through each thing that you might be going through. And it's a simple thing, but it's a challenging thing. So there it is. So that's it. So anyway, thank you for tuning in. Go to my website for more at TamaraBernadette.com. And thanks for watching. Bye.